My name is Dax Contreras. I am a systems engineer at Los Alamos National Lab. So systems engineer are essentially technical project leaders. We help manage project requirements throughout the life cycle from conception to closeout. The real purpose of my job is to ensure that when a project gets started to fix a particular problem or address a particular issue, as the project gets developed, the design matures, and ultimately gets executed, the project does not lose sight of the work that we set out to accomplish. You know, sometimes there's mission creep, scope creep, and I help ensure that the project scope actually addresses a problem that was funded originally. I've always been a big picture kind of guy, and in systems engineering, you know, there's something that we call systems thinking, where we believe that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So if you looked at kind of discrete items of a project, if you look at those pieces individually and you don't worry about how they integrate and how they come together as a whole to actually build the system and the design solution, you run into problems. And that kind of thinking, for some reason, has always kind of attracted me. I think my personality fits that kind of approach. I had a really unusual way of getting to the lab, actually. Some people you'll find started out working as an engineer and kind of went straight from engineering school to the lab. I ended up doing a bunch of different work in public policy and marketing. I worked in DC for a little while. But ultimately I ended up working at P&M for a little bit. That really started exposing me to systems engineering, and went back to school, got a degree, and ended up wanting to do that kind of work full time, and ended up at the lab. Some of the technical skills that I possess that are important to the work that I do are really logic-based thinking, mathematics, being able to look at data and being able to identify what the data is telling you, and being able to look at big picture items and figure out, okay, how can I segment this into smaller chunks in order to address a big problem that is not impacted by one specific issue or one specific segment of the design, but actually it requires the integration of all those different parts. Some of the interpersonal skills that I need to be successful are being able to communicate with people, you know, not being able to just be good at technical problem solving, but actually also having soft skills to be able to communicate with people and convey information. Quite frankly, it's really important for a systems engineer to not only possess technical abilities, but also soft skills. We're constantly having to manage and run meetings, projects, and you can't be a good leader of a team without being able to communicate. I think an example of that is when you're working on a project and you have a really complex problem or even a complex solution, and you can't communicate that down to a level where someone may be able to understand it that doesn't have a technical background, you're going to struggle. And so I think it's really important for people in my role and people that are curious about trying to get into systems engineering to not only be good at technical problem solving, but also to develop soft skills to be able to lead and communicate with people. What I like most about my job is the creative aspect to it. There's no real day-to-day part of my job. We're constantly having to develop answers and address problems that haven't been solved before. And so systems engineering as a specific technical discipline is pretty new. You know, when you think about engineering, you think about kind of the more standard engineering disciplines, right? You have electrical, chemical, mechanical, but systems itself is pretty new. And so being a part of a technical discipline is pretty new, and addressing problems that haven't been solved before really requires a lot of creativity, and that aspect of the job really appeals to me. Find a technical background that really lines up with your interests, whether it's mechanical, electrical, some kind of STEM degree. It doesn't have to even be engineering. When I look for people in hiring systems engineers, I'm not really looking for someone with a specific systems engineering degree. We are multidisciplinary, and so really, as long as you have a technical background, you have a background to get started in systems, but you also have to possess, like I mentioned before, those soft skills to be able to be a technical project leader. And if you can combine a technical aspect to being able to possess some soft skills, even some salesmanship, because some of what we have to do is convince management and other stakeholders that our solution makes sense and is the most prudent approach. All those things put together, and you'll be able to find a lot of success as a systems engineer.